to take you through a brief demonstration of our new online service, Use a Lasting Power of Attorney. The service aims to make it easier, quicker and more convenient for attorneys, donors and organisations to use registered LPAs. There are two sides to this service, one for those needing to share LPA details and the other for those needing to view those details. So the donor and all active attorneys on an LPA which is registered after the public launch of this service will receive credentials to use their LPA online if they choose to. They'll first need to create an account here. To do so, they'll need an email address and to create a password, which they can then use to access the account in future. They can add multiple registered LPAs to this account. So if they already have LPAs on their account, they will all be displayed here. If it's the first time that they've used this service, they'll be asked to add their first LPA. And to add the LPA, they simply have to provide some information from their registration letter from OPG, which is their LPA reference number, and their own unique activation key. They also add their own date of birth. So once they have LPAs on their account, they can use the service to give an organisation access to a summary of that LPA. So it's very simple. They can just type in an organisation name here. This is for their own reference, so they can put whatever they like, whatever makes sense to them, for them to remember what they've done in future. And this will generate them an access code. I can copy this code from here if I want to put this code perhaps in an email to the organisation, or if I just want to keep it somewhere else so that I can give it to that organisation over the phone. Can also check the access codes that I have already made on this LPA. And as you can see, I get a reminder of what the code is. I can see whether that access code has been viewed by anyone, and I can see when that access code expires. So access codes are just valid for 30 days, which should give the user enough time to share that access code with an organisation and for the organisation to process it as they need to. If it's not enough time, they can just create a new access code for that organisation, and as you can see, it's a quick process. I can also view the summary of my LPA here. So that's what I can do as a donor or attorney on this service. The other side of this service then is to view the LPA details. So this might be, on here you might be an organisation or somebody providing a service to the donor, and you need to see some evidence that the attorney is acting on their behalf. All I need to do is to enter the donor's surname and the access code that I've been given from the user. And here I just get a quick summary of what I'm about to access, which in this case is the Property and Affairs LPA for Tony Stark. And I can see when that code expires. So I can see here that I've got enough time to do what I need to do. And then I get the summary of the LPA. So really important here is that I get an up-to-date status of that LPA. So in this case, I can see that this LPA is still valid. If this LPA had been cancelled for any reason, this would be a red box and it would show that it was cancelled. I also just see the option that the donor chose for when the LPA can be used on this Property and Finance LPA. And I'm also told that this information has been taken as of today. So when an access code is entered here, this summary is taken straight out of OPG's case management system. So the information here is as up to date as the information that OPG have. I can see the details of the donor, how the attorneys are appointed to make decisions, and the details of each active attorney on their LPA. I can also see whether there are preferences and instructions on this particular LPA. Unfortunately, at the moment we can only give a yes or a no answer to preferences and instructions rather than providing the wording. So if the answer is yes to those, As you can see here, you'd be advised to ask to see the paper LPA, or if you have an alternative process for seeing the full LPA, that you should revert to that where there are preferences and instructions, if as an organisation you need to see those. You also see again when the LPA can be used, the date the donor signed, and the registration date of the LPA. So the last thing to show on here is that I can also download this LPA summary. That downloads as a PDF, and so if as an organisation I need to save a copy of this LPA summary, I can save this PDF, and again it shows the date here, so I know at what point the information was correct and I checked it, if I need to keep that for my records. And that's it. The idea of this is that it will reduce the need for donors and attorneys to provide paper copies of the LPA. And what we've learnt so far is that it's extremely effective at reducing the time it takes for an attorney to be able to start supporting a donor.